sure, it was pretty interesting to see, you know, the Sivir versus Yuumi battle, but not Yuumi, but Zeri battle, of course, and the fact that Yuumi did get banned, which is something you were calling for in the beginning as well.
Aí ele falou que Yuumi ia ser banido em todos os jogos.
Across the board, was there any pick that surprised you at all?
So like this time, Genji played with Zeri, with Enchanter Lulu, and T1 played Sivir with Amumu, which is like known Enchanter playmaker support. So I think like from game 2, maybe like they're gonna like change the plan, and I wanna see what's their choice.
Yeah, definitely could be a nice option, guys. Let's take a look at
Pelo amor de Deus, pega
here because we kind of gotta go fast with this one. Understandably, this was all of T1
robô.
Nossa,
esse robô foi uma
and everybody kind of went into the Dragon Pit. And what went wrong for T1 in this fight, Rush?
Ah, mas o Atoros ficou com 10, eu vi que ele não foi atrás com o R, ó. Nossa, ele jogou muito mal aí. Na moral. Era só ir atrás, velho. Aí a Zeri fez tudo ali, ó, depois. Olha lá, ó, tipo bom. O bicho faz tudo.
É que é muito bizarro esse movimento speed dela.
É, mano, nossa. Isso aí tomou muito nerf já. Tomou uns 5, 6 já, pelo menos. Antes era o dobro de roubada que tá agora. O dobro. Cadê? Peraí, deixa eu ver. Deixa eu achar aqui.
Yes, he had like 2 chances, like on the Nash Pit
Cadê?
and on the Fountain. Yeah. But it's like game 1 Quadra, maybe game 2 Penta.
Yeah, and this is where he was not able to pull up the
Aqui, ó. Olha como é que tava antes. Ó, janeiro. Bem quando eu tinha lançado mesmo. Nossa, não, isso aqui é muito errado, velho. Top 5 anúncios.
Yes, it doesn't even like 4v5, but T1 did not really have like ultimates, so like they didn't have enough damage to stop.
Ué, cadê a qualidade também?
Smurfing here.
Não existe.
So like Ruler did like 3 damage and he got a Quadra and almost Penta.
Aí o Zeri aí.
You know, the first highlight was the official Zeri moment. This one was again just Zeri doing crazy things, and this is why, you know, we were talking about some of the draft stuff. They don't have a lot of hard lockdown outside of the Amumu. We did see the
muito bizarro isso,
from the Zeri purchased by Ruler as well, and he was essentially never
Esse não existe, velho. Olha isso.
So, what do you want to see different going
Nossa,
into game 2
velho.
from T1?
Olha como é isso. Então, hoje tá suave perto do que era antes.
This time Genji had like longer range
Tá maluco.
and DPS comp and had Enchanter support, and maybe like, this time T1 is gonna try
O cara
the same
tá
plan,
rodando o
like
mapa.
that
Se ele quiser, ele roda o mapa, velho.
So
Fácil.
let's see.
Yeah, let's see, and that was a very dominant victory from Genji. We'll see if they can pull it off
Pior
again.
que isso é fácil ou difícil de fazer esse kiting?
Ah, o kiting não é fácil não, mas tipo... É porque você fica tão rápido que não dá nem pra controlar direito, mas... Não é justo, é só você dar o auto-ataque que eu apertar aqui lá, aí que o auto-ataque dela é o que, na real.
Ah, tá.
E aí quando você ulta, você ganha speed, a cada auto-ataque que você dá, se você acerta em champion, você ganha um stack, aí o stack dá um speed. Só que na época dava muito, mano, dava muito mais do que é hoje. Aí... Só que... E tipo, por alguns segundos lá, né? Só que se você bater, reseta o move speed. Aí o cara ficou batendo, desde aqui ele ficou batendo, né? Desde o comecinho aqui. Ele ultou aqui, ó, acabou de ultar. Aí a partir daqui foi stacando speed. Aí aqui chegou 1 minuto de fight, o cara tá o mais rápido do mundo. O cara é o flash. Olha lá. Que isso, velho?
Cara, que bizarro.
Quem escolheu o Blue Side? Ué, Ateu escolheu de novo? Ué, tá bom, né? Ah, eu gostei, né? Ah, eu gostei. Ah, mano, achava que ia ser o Red Side agora, pô. Tá bom.
Então, acho que eu só vou ficar até os bans, piques e bans.
Pode crer. Nossa, eu tô muito som também, mas eu acho que eu assisti. É, mas pelo ban dá pra saber quem ganhou já também. Mas banir Pop eu acho que... Ah, o Pop Pinch tá muito forte. Ah lá, ele vai banir Nautilus de novo. Kalista eu não sei, mas Draven vai.
the same thing as well. So far so good as far as that run back is concerned. And
Ah,
Lucian
vai ser
will
igual
continue
então,
that
acho.
trend.
Essa é a mesma coisa do draft. Só que
Só
dessa vez acho que eles vão picar Zeri e vai perder o jogo de novo. Esse picar Zeri vai ser ruim também. Ó, não, real, agora ficou melhor. Banir o Azir. Agora eles vão ter que banir. Banir o Sivir?
Oxi.
Pica Yumi então, first pick Yumi. Tem que picar. Foda que.
You have to pick one of them as T1, but then you give the
Não, eles
Ari.
baniram. A gente baniu certo agora.
Genji's
Agora
like,
eles têm que picar
they were
Yumi,
so
ó.
prepared for this
E a
moment.
gente
Like, they
devolve
knew
Zeri e
that,
Lulu.
okay, yeah, you're gonna ban
Aí é
this year,
foda.
we're gonna change the way this draft looks. And now, problem is now, do you want to pick the Zeri here into the Yumi as Genji? You can get the Ari Vi. We haven't seen that yet this series.
Oh,
obviously,
verdade.
but still
Não, pera,
a lot
calma.
of lockdown
Tô
even
perdido
against
agora.
Yumi Zeri.
Eu não sei quem tá na
I
frente
think
agora.
that if you let Yumi Zeri go through, though, you're gonna hear a big groan throughout the crowd.
Se você. É.
I mean, it
Porra!
all does
Ah, o tipo
depend
novo aí, ó.
on what Genji's plan is here for the bottom side. So far,
Ela é
Nila is
muito
going to be the
roubada.
choice for Ruler.
É
Not
boa.
necessarily
Eu acho que
a
roubada não
premier
é.
Nila player, but we
Esse
know
quer
that
ter
he has
uma parada de
certainly
XP
been
aí, que aumenta
experimenting
XP.
with it.
Olha,
Silas
pegou
will be
Silas
locked
já.
in as well here for
Tá, não
Jovi.
ganhamos agora. Não, mentira,
Expecting
mas.
something like an Ari here to come
Tá
through
melhor
from
já, já
T1
tá muito
side,
melhor.
but
Vai
that
vir o
Zeri
Zeri aqui, acho.
needs to be picked up first.
Mas eles costumam pegar, quando o Sivir tá banido, eles costumam pegar esse champ novo aí contra a Zeri.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Mas sei lá, eu sei que a passiva disso aí tem um bagulho de XP aí. É. Tipo, se eles ganham mais XP do que o normal, o bot lane ganha mais XP do que o normal. É mais melee que os outros ali que é normal, mas tem umas skills aí que meio range, sei lá. Ah, e ela é meio. Ela tem um dodge também, tipo o do Jax assim. Mas eu não sei como funciona certinho não. Renek! Caraca, parece que ele não pega Renek, velho. E eu acho que ainda contra Silas, hein? Eu acho que. Ah, aí olha só, mano. Hand Special, velho. O cara lançou um Singed. Ele joga de Singed, suporte. Esse Renek eu acho que pode ser mid ainda, mano. Meu Deus do céu.
So this puts a lot of risk here in T1's composition. They have to have a smooth sail through that laning phase, and you can't take away the Singe. There's too many things to ban. No, exactly right. And I think we need to update everyone because if you just
Mas se Renek é mid, ô Genji, tá dormindo? Ou será que eu tô dormindo? Eu acho que eu tô dormindo.
I expect
Mas
what happens in drafts. I know exactly what's
dá
going
boa
on.
chance,
You
mano.
see Singe and you get very confused. So Lehens was a singed one trick basically before he joined Griffin.
Agora, eu banei o que? É verdade, né? Pode ser que não seja Singed de suporte. Quase certeza que é, mas.
Singed is just the Lehens special. He uses it
Lehens
in the
special?
Yumi,
Igual que eu
and
falei.
he's 100% win
Presente.
rate on this champion so far throughout his career.
Vai banir Ari e vai banir. Mano, vai banir
Looking
outro mid
forward to
então,
seeing
acho.
whether
Sei
Genji
lá.
can keep that one
Lissandra?
the same way or
Não,
whether
Lissandra
T1
aqui
have
não
a
faz
plan
nada,
into the
acho.
Singed this time.
Well, we also see C1 realizing the same fake that Genji did. This time around, no jungler has been picked.
Trando.
R for Wukong is
Ué,
a complete
faz nada aqui.
no-brainer here for Genji with the Trundle
Banir o
ban.
Trando vai picar
Very,
tanque.
very obvious
Vai
that P1
picar
wants to
Sejuani
pick that
first.
one up.
Ou Warden.
And
Ah, vai picar o Warden na real. Banir o Warden então. Aí, ó.
Alternatively, as Genji, because you already know what you're playing into with that Renekton can also just pick up the Aatrox. I wonder if that's going to be the ban here, but it will be the Wukong instead, meaning that I'm expecting maybe a Sejuani pickup.
Yeah,
Trundle can
Sejuani
also be a sign of that.
Yep, Sejuani obviously going to be flexible too. You know, if you pick it here in R4,
É,
so you
Sejuani
can, you know,
é
move it
Sejuani
into
é
the
melhor
jungle,
porque
and
dá
then
pra
if
esconder
you want
jungle.
to have a
Jungle
hidden
top,
jungle
velho.
pick that comes through once you see the
Que
rest
esse
of
boneco
T1's
tá
draft,
top,
you can
velho.
flex
Nada
it,
a
of
ver.
course, towards the top side of the map. It also gives you really strong engage options here as Genji because, you know, Wukong is amazing because you essentially have a comp that wants to run in. It's a dive comp. And Sejuani still does it, a little bit more budget, a little bit less committal, but it gets set up for the Nilo ult, gets set up for Singe to do a ton of damage.
Cara, que bagunça isso, velho.
Muita bagunça.
Porra!
Porra! Treinou esse daí? Nossa, ô. Que isso? É time chinês, mano. Que isso, cara?
Pera.
Nossa, mano, pior que eu gosto dessa brincadeira. Eu tô gostando, velho. Será? O Morgana é muito bom, mano, contra os caras lá. Faz tudo, o Morgana faz tudo aqui.
Renekton, of course, a flex into mid if you would like to put it there. Often is something that we've seen picked into Silas in the past.
So what you get here as T1 is you have two lanes with setup for a Dark Binding.
Mano, falei que era Renek Mid aí, ó. Tô sabendo demais, mano. Presente, os caras banindo o ali, ó. Perderam o ban. Mentira, acho que depois que os caras baniram o Ali que ele decidiu pegar mid. Boto fé.
You can just flex that Sejuani up towards top lane.
Yeah,
Take
you have.
something else.
Caraca, tá.
Agora
I mean,
Seju
you
tá
can even
top
go
e agora o
Viego
jungle vai
here in
ser
this
o
draft.
quê?
It feels strong. I mean,
Eles vão ficar o jungle
ways
AD
that
agora.
Genji can operate this.
Ou
You
não
can
também.
also go
Aatrox de
Aatrox
novo.
here. You could have gone
Ok.
Camille into the Gnar and say, you know, I'm gonna just
Pô,
push this
agora eu
super
gostei
hard.
do draft.
It's
Só ele
just
ter
Genji
Yumi
going
e
back to
Zeri.
bread and butter. They
Ele tá
don't really have
melhor
to
já.
show anything here. In a normal
Aí,
scenario,
que
Lehen's
beleza,
playing
que
Singe
beleza.
support or any other support. You're like, wow, you can only do this once in a best of 5. For Lehen's, this
Que
is standard. This
bagunça,
is normal.
velho.
Toby's playing
Caraca.
Silas, Peanuts on Sejuani
Nossa,
again.
esse aqui é o
Genji's like,
draft dele,
cool,
esse
it's just
cara.
an adaptation of our draft that we played last game into a different AD carry, but we have a little bit more engage power this time around.
Então
It's not the
esse
same
é o draft
long-term
desse
damage
cara.
that we saw from them in game 1. It's all in hard engage, blow up the Zeri.
But it is sort of the opposite of what Rush was talking about.
Ih,
As
ó o
far as
Bullet,
what
vazou
T1's
do Bullet
draft had
assistindo ele
in game
secar
number 1 compared to
no meio
this
da
one. Now
balada.
they have the enchanters. Now they have the range advantage, most
Pior que me vejo
importantly.
muito
And
fazendo isso,
Genji
velho.
are the ones with all the onus
Eu
on
nem cheguei
them
na balada,
on
mas se
making
eu,
these
se eu,
fights happen.
se eu fosse
Genji
pra
have
um, eu ia
no
estar
range.
assistindo ele
There's
secar
nothing.
agora.
Yeah. There's Singed, Silas, Sejuani, and Aatrox.
Sim.
The only range you have
Sei
is
lá.
Sejuani throwing an ultimate. So those
Draft
skirmishes
maluco desse.
need to be good. If you snowball with
Draft
this comp as
maluco, mano.
Genji, you completely
Eu
run them
gosto.
over. But you do have to snowball, because if not, I don't think you have the what it takes to take down Zeri Yumi later in the game.
We've also seen Damwon Kia pilot a very similar Morgana composition into this style of drafting we saw from Genji. It went very poorly for them in the mid game, but they were able to, with a good binding, turn that one around. If you guys remember that series back from playoffs. Now, we'll see this time around if T1 can pull it off, because this feels like a draft that's going to be about Zeri lives, they win,
Luizão falou
Zeri
que
die, they
tem
lose,
perda pros
and
cobertores
there's so
do
much
Luizão.
appeal for her, but Guma will actually have to carry. He will actually have to perform here for them to tie up this series.
He has done it before. They did manage to, off the back of a lot of great play from Gumayushi against Damwon Kia, make it here to Konglun. That is one of the reasons why they managed to do so. It was to do with that Zeri. Let's do it. Let's get into game number 2 of the 2022 Summer Final.
Porque o LS não gostou do draft, caramba. Ô louco. Ué, sei lá, eu gostei. Ele marcou LCS sem querer. Que mula.
Genji? Genji fans? No?
Ué.
Good old fan leader drama, you know? Who knows who starts it?
I didn't know. Are we even allowed to start commentating? I don't even know whether
Que?
we're allowed to. I
Feels
think we
wrong.
need to wait.
Patrão precisa de
I don't
cometa.
like this.
No, I'm very confused. However,
O cara
I
não tem
think,
flash, o que é isso aqui? O cara não tem
T1
flash,
fans
que
makes a
é
lot of
isso?
sense that they're the ones
isso
that get
aqui,
the
velho?
fan cheer and not Genji,
Ué.
because we want to make sure that
Os
we
caras
get
estão
as
Que
many
tá
os caras
players
estão
in this
fazendo
final as
um limite
possible. And
teste, mano.
I believe
O cara não
that
tem
based on these
flash, velho.
drafts,
Meu
we are going
Deus
to
do céu,
1-1.
os caras estão fazendo
that is
limite
what I'm
teste.
feeling straight out the gate.
Nossa
Gentlemen, do you
senhora.
share the sentiment or no?
Ah não, mano, me
I
recuso a perder
do
esse jogo
like
aqui, velho.
T1's
Não é
draft
possível, o cara não
But
tem
I
flash,
think
velho.
that this is an extremely volatile set of drafts, the two of
Possível.
them. It's all based on execution. It's so difficult to say one draft is better than the other because of how
Pior
strong
que
Genji's draft
esse
is
Sing
if
de
executed
suporte
perfectly,
é
but
counter
also
de
how
Yumi,
strong
mano.
T1's
Ele
draft
pega
is
exatamente
against
contra Yumi,
Genji.
porque
And I think if
se
T1
Yumi
lose
sai
this game, we
do
might have a 3-0
AD
on
Carry,
our hands
ele só
because
pula
you've
na
got
Yumi e
everything you
pronto,
wanted
tem
this
que
time
fazer.
around. You have the
A Yumi
right
morre.
answers to Genji's comp, but if you still lose here,
Ah lá.
Genji's still out.
Se fosse level 2 ele tava morto,
I mean,
provavelmente.
how do you come back from that 0-2?
Well, Genji 2-0. So let's talk about the rune setup that we have here, because there's actually a lot of
Mas
interesting
cancela
summoners
o E de volta
First and
daí?
foremost, Doran has gone for
Cancelar
the
não.
common
É, tipo,
variation
se
of
você
Aatrox,
pegar enquanto ela tá
which
voltando, acho que
into a
cancela.
Gnar, I think actually does make a lot of sense. Gets you a ton more laning
E
power.
se
When we get
você.
the full
E
rune
quando
setup,
ela tá,
expect to see,
tipo.
something
Se
like
você
a
der um
Spectre as
CC
well,
nela,
just
ela
really
tem que esperar
try
5
and
segundos pra
mitigate
poder
the
entrar em
pressure
alguém
that
de
the Gnar
novo.
has. Chovy going
Aí você,
for the
você
first strike,
puxa ela lá
variation
com
Silas, so
coisa no
trying
seguinte
to
lá.
both maximize his burst and
E se você
play
jogar lá
into
embaixo
a,
do
melee matchup
adesivo
that
lá
can
do
get a lot more
bagulho, aquele
value.
círculozinho, aí vai ficar resetando 5 segundos toda hora lá. E o Faker já foi de caixa. Ô louco! Caixa.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that
Nossa,
2-0
mas já, mano.
confidence,
Foi level 2. Não, foi 3.
No,
Esquece.
don't bet down. There was no analysis whatsoever. It was just 2-0.
So I think that when you
Relaxa,
consider
tem zero
also
no jogo,
the fact that
relaxa.
now the Silas who did take first strike as you were leading into gets a first blood under his belt, 400 extra gold, pulls Faker out of lane, gets his
Ó, o Faker
teleport
treinando já.
early. This could be a
Isso, velho.
disaster for how this laning phase is going to go as the Silas gets stronger. And Toby, he still holds on to his teleport here, can get a better back.
Yeah, getting an early kill and
Faker tá
forcing the
maluco.
flash out of Faker. Very, very big. Also makes a possible early skirmish a lot less threatening when you don't have the point and click CC for the Renekton. As wondering as we see
entendi.
yeah, the Peanut setup. Because Peanut actually has been, as mentioned previously, really good about the way that he's been finding these early moments, finding these early ganks. And haven't really talked about the Edmonton
Marco não
drop,
fez
but
nada.
Sejuani,
Nossa.
even into a Morgana, which in team fights can be very debilitating because of how slow the permafrost actually comes through and Glacial Prison lose a lot of power. When you're still in laning phase and Morgana's trying to just farm up, it's so incredibly strong. And with both the setup that you have, because you have 4 melees, everyone enables permafrost. So the reason why I have a lot of faith in Gen G is because I think T1's never going to be actually allowed to play this game. I have a tough time seeing it. Ruler also going for the cleanse, very good defensive option into things like bindings and all the point and click CC that's available for T1.
Yeah, no flash actually available here from Ruler, so definitely very committed to making sure that he can just stay in amongst the fight, understanding that positioning is key.
Exchanges,
to do it.
exchanges like the ones we saw there with the early gank from Peanut, you know, are pretty
Ô, louco, será?
predictable as a
Será?
owner.
Será?
Yeah, around the side here.
Nossa, o cara sabe muito, mano. Que é isso?
Chovy sees him. Let's see whether
Presente,
the
mano.
Dark Binding will connect. Right now, Aatrox with control, and yeah, Chovy will be
consertado.
able to sidestep Dark Binding. Mind games complete, and won there by Chovy this time.
The way that this
Go
goes
word.
wrong for T1, I think, is falling too far behind too early, right? And we know how these two drafts interact in terms of the way there's a front line for this Zeri. This ward will spot Peanut. Still could commit to the dive.
Perdeu com a tapa?
Gonna go for it this time, but
Que isso? Ele com
he's running
ghost?
real quick.
Tá doido?
Doesn't have
Nossa,
ghost or
mano.
anything like that, but Gumyushi's going to
foi
ghost
isso,
himself.
véi?
So that means just by looking menacing,
Os caras nunca
he's
perderam
going
desse
to be able to
mid.
pick that one up. And this is what we were talking
Caralho,
about, 4 and
o cara
0
tá
right
perdendo
now
esse
on
mid.
the Singed.
Esse mid já roubou o Baron uma vez, falando nisso. O Faker não, o E dele não pegou em nada. Nossa, Nossa, ia pra dar uma tragédia, meu Deus. Esse Singed aí já roubou o Baron já uma vez. Nossa.
Ah, com o negócio de areia lá, né?
É. Ele chegou, acho que ele tá com um bagulho de trocar ali o Server Spell. Aí ele pegou o Smite e roubou. Fica morrer de novo. Nossa.
Owner wasn't even allowed to black shield him. He couldn't get close enough, and Faker is going to be dead again.
And the point I'm trying to make here is just being illustrated repeatedly while I'm trying to make
interrupted, making your point by your point being made.
Yeah, exactly. You're playing into the Sylas melee here with the Sejuani. This is what you were saying earlier, Chronicler, about how
Nossa,
strong
não
this
tem jogo,
duo
mano.
is
Seju
together.
e
I think
Silas.
as Faker,
Nossa,
ideally
muito
here,
forte,
you want to
velho.
play something with a little bit more lane power, a little bit more control.
Os
But
caras
you're playing
sabem de
into
algo.
Sejuani, and the Morgana is a binding binary.
Ah lá, aí, ó,
So she
no
hit
bot
it,
ali, ó,
does
os
she
dois
not?
já estão level
That's your
5
end
já.
result, whereas Sejuani, no flash on the Renekton,
Nada a
you
ver
can
isso aí.
keep coming back for more. And as a result, Faker is finding himself falling further and further behind.
And a lot of this comes down just to how incredibly well Peanut is able to be ahead of all these plays. Because, like, turn it the other way around. If Chovy gets hit while he's not in a wave with a stun, he dies. Like, there's a Renekton stun, there's
Verdade.
binding, and
Tomar
you're
um
gone.
stun
There is
morre,
no counterplay,
porque
but
tem dois
because
stuns seguidos.
every single time that this happens, it's Gen G that is on the front foot, right? It's Gen
culpa
G
do
setting up
Singed.
the play. They have a man advantage, so what you're going
O
to do,
Singed
lands
tava vivo.
level 5, by the way. Thank you for that, Neela. Definitely a necessary part of the kit, as 2 and 0 on the Sylas is Chovy already, and this is a pick where if you can just coast until like level 11, you're perfectly happy.
They had the wraparound there too on the Singed. He avoided the control ward.
Well, speaking about wraparounds, there's the flash from Lahens. Ruler going to be diving forward. That is
E agora?
the prison
É,
you're looking
F,
for
né?
there, Peanut,
Nossa,
but
nós vai tomar.
Ruler
Nossa, o
now
que aconteceu?
found that Apotheosis available. Gumyushi's going to go down, and now
Entendi.
Carrier is a cat with a book, but no friends.
Nossa, mano, que acabou já.
How many multi-kills has he got this series? We're
Meu
not even,
Deus do
like,
céu, mano.
a bit of the way into game 2 yet.
And I was worried this was going to happen. I didn't quite expect it
Nossa,
like
a
this
gente vai dar
phase. I
3 a
was
0
thinking
aqui.
it's going to be
Meu
around a
Deus,
Herald
cara.
fight, was
Não é
going to be
possível
maybe
que vai
around an
acontecer.
early dragon, but Gen G is absolutely decimating this early game.
It's crazy how much value Peanut has had across the map. He takes flash away from Faker early, grabs that kill, comes back for a second pass, gets the second
Jogo
kill,
diff.
comes down to
Nossa
your bottom
senhora,
side,
mano.
helps set up
O que
for
o cara tá
double.
fazendo?
Ruler's
Aqui não tá
grabbing plate
escrito.
gold, solo, plus
Gente.
160. I mean, this could not be a bigger lead for
É isso que é
Gen G
roubado
right
do
now, with
seguinte,
the
ele só
competition
flashou,
that
velho.
is
Olha lá,
so
apertou W,
snowbally.
flashou e
As he just hits
acabou.
this max range, flashes in, tosses him
Já
back.
era,
Guess
velho.
who's here? Peanut, level 6, doesn't
É
have his
muito
ult.
slow,
Doesn't
velho.
matter, Guma has no way out, and it's because of
Não.
Yumi. Ah, he misses this as well on the wall. And with the Yumi here,
Ele errou
it's just a
pulinho,
double.
mano.
Yeah, the
Que
Apotheosis
bosta.
actually pulling him out of the Jet Set Radio future. So a little bit of a shame there for Gumayushi.
Level 6, I mean, that's your experience advantage.
100%. So now, Gen G, it's all
Nossa
about
senhora.
just pushing this advantage ever further. Close to 2,000 gold, but that's pretty decent here
Yeah.
at close to 9 minutes into the game. And
O Morgana
Peanut
tá
is going to
farmando
look
monte,
to
mas não
extend that
faz,
even
não faz
further
muita
by
coisa.
taking this Rift Herald.
Also see Doran going for the Eclipse build, so assuming a B2B
Que abalo.
Eclipse,
Morreu de
Cirilla,
novo.
Black Cleaver,
Mentira.
as Lands. Only as Axe Flash, but even with Axe Flash, that cinch is terrifying, and we're seeing happening right in front of our eyes. Why
Tá de
no
Axe
one
Flash.
is there to pick Yumi against Gen G, and it feels like a lose-lose. You ban Yumi, and you don't get it, or you pick it, and then it's doomed.
Yeah, and I just want to defend my prediction, right? Because
You don't have
we
to.
see Zeri Yumis so often, and they just win. This
Yep.
Zeri Yumi also has a Morgana as well. So it's like, how are you ever going to kill the Zeri in the late game? What I didn't realize, gentlemen, that obviously the smarter men, who are the analysts on this test, should have understood, is that sometimes you're just not allowed to play a late game. And that's exactly what you were talking about.
É, então é isso que eu tava pensando, como é que vai matar a Zero late game, que com Black Shield e tal, mas é só não deixar chegar no late game. Cara, isso deu errado, né? Ah, mas eu fui quem que é uma flash, nem? Ah, então beleza, tá bom. Tem flash por nada. Tá bom.
Peanut is everywhere and Owner is nowhere. He has saved now Chovy after being 100% kill contribution in both the kills on Faker, the bottom
Verdade.
kills as well.
Olha, não fez nada o
He
jogo
is
todo.
the brains of the operation. Peanut has been so good at this, and unfortunately Morgana that is going to be a counter pick here relies on smart pathing, and Owner just has not been able to keep up with Peanut this game. And as it snowballs away, obviously it gets harder and harder to keep up with the tempo.
Oh, no. Okay, they spot him. That's good. At the very least, but
But I mean, you're now you're
Tá sem
potentially
ult.
gonna get dove.
Ó
You're
o
gonna have to
XP
come
já.
over.
O cara tá level 8
Has
já,
to
mano.
cover.
Que é
And
isso,
this is
velho?
what keeps you on the back foot.
Nossa, que roubo. Ó o Faker morrendo de
Peanut
novo.
now moving away. Faker, they have an inkling.
Yeah, there are a lot of pings. T1 know exactly what's going on, but can they stop it is going to be the question. Faker has his flash available, but there is the
Well.
Everfrost stun to come through. Faker still should be
Well.
all right, but another chain is going to land. Dominance is going to come through, and now Gen G are just chasing after the Crocodile. They are bullying the mega adhesive.
Nossa senhora, mano.
Says that's enough, and he books it out of there. And in the meantime, Shelly smacks down the turret.
I mean, you as Owner here.
Os caras
you
querem
were
aposentar o
passing
Faker
bottom
mesmo.
because you
Nossa
saw the
senhora, mano.
Sejuani. Zayas gonna have to get over the wall here.
Will the chains connect?
Nossa, mano, esse
They
jogo
don't
tá
even need it to,
tá
as
muito
Doran's just
top.
gonna pick
Meu
up that
Deus
kill,
do céu.
flashes over the wall, and that is going to be that. And Gen G are
6-0.
steamrolling this game.
Yeah, I mean,
Caraca.
Peanut, he shows bottom. Owner has to come down. He's coming over.
no,
Oh god, this is just done.
Meu Deus, ele pulou em cima do Ziggy. Nossa, morreu. Cara, nossa, velho. Louco, vivaço. O shield da Morgana. Finalmente Morgana apareceu no jogo. Nossa.
But at what
Yeah,
cost?
but who cares? Like, the SDU summoners, heal, exhaust, thrown away. Gen G gonna pick themselves up a second Drake. Plates are dropping. And as I said,
Nossa,
I don't
mano,
think
que
we're
humilhação,
ever
cê é
getting to a
louco.
point where Zeri Yumi gets to do their thing.
Yeah. Well, I certainly don't think we are now. That is for sure. I mean, the fact of the matter is, look at where Owner is. He passed bottom. Peanut leaves. He's on Krugs because he's like, all right, well, I don't know what's going on here. Faker has to pass topside because he knows his jungler isn't here. So even having flash isn't going to save him in this moment. Adhesive comes down, he's dead. And like, he's just been left alone as
Esses caras ali no bot vão morrer
again,
também.
Owner
Ou não?
bottom side
Ué.
during this.
Ué.
Yeah, we can see already they had to invest the final chapter. You can see picture in picture. But this is what happened to start off the troubles here for Zayas as he hits Minina. He's at half health, and Gen G have him exactly where they want him.
And Owner's just trying to hold wave mid because Faker's dead. Everybody's dead. There's no control whatsoever. This is a stomp.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in situations like this, these one-item spikes from Gen G are absolutely disgusting. Like, early Eclipse. It's the reason why.
Esse cara de
Doran's able
Eclipse,
to,
meu
chunk
amigo.
Zayas the way he
Ué,
does, and Zayas
ele tá pra
is
cima, que
successfully
isso?
trying to create some pressure on the map
Maluco
because
da ZT.
everywhere else is a pure disaster. One plate still alive on mid. I don't even want to talk about the bot lane because it's even more rough. And
É
then
muito CC
top lane
também,
is, as
né?
far as things go
Da
for T1, the
Genji.
best situation, but still very bad. It's
Até
another
demais, mano.
Infernal,
Nossa
and
senhora. Não
as
sei como que o Magic
Genji,
tá de cleanse.
do you think T1's going to be able to contest the next two Drakes?
Oh, yeah, no. I don't know. Maybe the best
The
news
answer
for
is
T1
no.
is that
Drake
this game might
Infernal
be
de
over
novo,
before
mano.
a soul is
Nem
even a
osso.
question mark.
Maybe it's Elder Flip. Maybe that's where we do it.
Well, perhaps, but Zeus is now going to take a lot of damage here from Doran. Offers a bit back, as you could see, as Peanut completes his Sunfire Cape.
This comp is so win more when it's ahead, with the advantages Ruler has in terms of experience too, plus the items, has his early Immortal Shield Bow, and like, you can't contest Drakes as T1, you can't actually make cross-map plays, you just have to hope for scaling, but
Nossa.
as you're saying, I don't think that fight
Nossa,
ever
os
comes, I
caras.
don't think
Meu
those
Deus
items
do céu.
ever come, because Genji will take all the vision off, they will just keep pushing these waves in, take away the turrets, and then you can't even farm a Zeri freely.
Outside of Peanut, no one on Genji has a title. Well, Brulo does, but not the title he really
A
wants.
little bit more international.
Yeah, and that is such a
Quase 2 level de
mind-blowing
XP
thing.
já. Meu
And
Deus.
I personally was expecting there to be at least some form of pressure, seemingly, on Genji coming into a match where they're so clearly the favorite after the split that they've had. But in this game number 2, I'm not feeling any pressure. I think you're feeling fine. I think you're having a great time right now. And for T1, when the game is this
Morreu?
boomed,
Ah, tá,
it
velho.
is so hard to play because
Tem ninguém no mapa, mas
any of your
sei
fights
lá.
are going to be working with
Esse
such
bicho
a
aí faz
massive item
tudo.
disadvantage that you need to be like 3 people up if you want it to work, but you have no vision. Look at that jungle.
This is also the mental drain game. Like, this is the game where you lost game 1. It was pretty close until it wasn't, right? So we had those Zeri moments, but it was a fairly close game where we could have conversations about the state of things. Instead of watching Rift Herald spawn onto Genji, who have so much control, they just take it instantly. They're speedrunning this game. But you have to try to survive and bring something back. 6,000 gold down at 15 minutes in, going into a second game of the series. It's draining your mental this entire time. You're losing control of, like, can we beat them in any games? Like, we can't beat them on blue side. We had 2 blue side games in a row. Like, this is actually how teams get 3-0'd, especially with teams with young players. And I mean, we're not trying to write the eulogy early, but it is really looking rough for T1 here.
I mean, I'm down to ride it for this game, 100%. I'm not riding it for the series, but this game is looking all but over. It's a 6.5 thousand gold lead.
Nossa,
Not even
6
16
gold
minutes
já.
yet into this
Nossa,
game.
6
We have
gold
1
já.
minute until
Nossa.
Infernal Soul Point available for Genji. And yes, look, there is a Yumi and a Zeri and a Morgana on the other side. Like, theoretically, if there's a way for T1 to somehow make it to 3 items on Zeri, maybe they can do it. But Doran's is flashing on top of Zeus here. Now Zeus able to offer a few boomerangs back, but still, some of the spell advantage actually for Zeus.
Zeus's movement is insane there. The fact that he doesn't die, well, he might still because of the hands, but the fact that he doesn't die in that 1v1 is super impressive. But it also ties into what was my fear coming into the series. That's the one edge you have. Like, Zeus still looks great, but also...
Doran's playing Aatrox.
Yeah, I know,
again.
yeah. And also, who cares? Like,
And
there's just not a lot going right. And I don't really see a conceivable way for... If this was a Cloud or an Ocean Soul, then maybe, but it's Infernal.
Well,
Ah, porque ele tá trolando, não é possível. Morreu. Não morreu? Oxi.
No,
Black Shield was available, but Ono does have enough distance. He'll
Se
make it out.
eu
I
seguir de
think
faixa, ele
the
morre.
problem with this
Mas
draft
não
for
quis.
T1, I mean, besides the Renekton, is that the Morgana doesn't play to Owner's strengths at all. That's the first time he's been there for his team with these dives happening. He hasn't otherwise been able to match Peanut's tempo at all. There's no turret, so he doesn't end up making a big play or
Nossa,
anything like that.
terceiro
But,
Drake já.
you know,
Meu
Morgana
Deus
is one of
do
those
céu.
champions, not really a hands champion. Do you hit the binding? Do you press W?
Embora
When you
também
press R
esse
on the team
Drake
fight, did it work?
de é
Are
mais
you
forte
not
quando tem
behind enough
poke,
to
mas não tem
actually
muito
mean
poke dessa
something?
vez.
In this game, it absolutely does not. And
Mas
Peanut has just been
esse Drake é muito
gapping him
forte,
super hard
mesmo
here.
assim.
He had 100% kill contribution for a majority of this game, and
Yeah.
you can feel the brain at work here of Genji, how clearly they drafted this composition.
Yep, not to mention the fact that, I mean, this was clearly something that T1 had planned out. But it's also now Na into Silas as well, which is something that we hadn't even really thought about that much, because you see Na for Zeus and you're like, oh, it makes sense, it's absolutely fine. But we can be critical of that pick as well, just a little bit. However, I don't even think it's going to be
verdade, nossa, os caras picaram na área em cima de Silas.
Oh, it doesn't matter
Meu
at all.
Like, it's just not relevant, even in the slightest.
What I can't wait for is game 3, where Singed actually gets banned. They first pick Yumi, and Lahens pulls out the Cassiopeia to show how good grounded it is. Can't wait for that one.
It's the tour around grounded champions. There we go.
At the top of the day, we talked about Gen.G as an organization and how historically doomed their runs have been. How many second places they've had across this entire roster, not just the org. But we have also seen teams reach a point of singularity where there just doesn't seem to be any way to deal with everything they throw at you. Damwon has done this. T1 literally did this in spring, where you can say ban X champion, but there's always more. And Gen.G to me feels like they have reached that point. They're currently up soul points, 19 minutes in, 8k gold lead. What do you do?
Well, you think about game number 3. That's the answer. What you're supposed to do here. Because, like you say, 8k gold lead is absurd. Infernal Chains are going to miss. Zeus is walking in the wrong direction, though, as we can see. And Chovy's going to make his way down. This is already a very difficult game, made worse here for Zeus towards the bottom side of the map, trying to create whatever pressure he can. And Peanut, top of the morning to the bottom lane there, as he did say hello. And Ruler is just happily farming. Yeah, past the mid-outer turret of T1.
Mais
This is a draft for
8K.
T1 that
Nossa.
was very much flexed around the Renekton. That's why they were able to make this happen, but it was still so high variance, and Gen.G still have that R5 counter pick, and you've already got the Silas into this. I think the draft is the big issue
Nossa,
for T1.
eu
I think
quero,
the
nossa, eu
potential
quero
was
fechar
there,
ele, velho.
absolutely.
Meu Deus do céu.
But Owner was not, and Peanut made huge impact in the early game, and then Gen.G just ran with it because this comp couldn't be more snowbally, and they forced those advantages. And I think the risk T1 took is unfortunate. They lose this game, but can they recover mentally after this one is my big question, even if the draft is better in game 3.
Gen.G, the team that historically has let down many a fan at a crucial point in time, is currently on a trajectory to perfect game T1. They have lost nothing. No kills, no heralds, no dragons, no turrets.
Verdade, né, caralho? Nossa, o jogo perfeito é quando você não deixa de fazer nada. Zero de tudo, mano. Nossa, velho. Pô, verdade, mano. Será que vai ser um jogo perfeito, velho? Tem como, né? Nossa, mano. Ou não. Aí, ó, CK foi tudo. Deixa aqui pro Google, mas pelo amor de Deus. Isso. Acabou o jogo perfeito, ó. 7x1 aí, ó. É, vai moscando aí pra ver o que acontece. Ó, Zero faz tudo, viu? Zero faz café também. O que acontece com a Zé se ela fechar 3 itens aí, ó?
I would like to apologize personally. Why did Pina die? Because he greeted for
Nossa, eu não vi nada, velho. Jogou muito, mano.
Drags him back, the rest of the team springs into action. Very quick reaction there, and unfortunately Peanut doesn't flash fast enough to escape. Greets for
Entendi,
chickens,
foi
he's
nada.
dead. And you know what, considering the game state, probably rather save it. The flash regardless.
Que isso?
Another ulti to come through
Você fez o Faker?
here.
Será? Ah, o Chovy chegou. Tá vendo que o Chovy tava perto? Foi, ué. Que loucura. Oh, pegou! Oh, tá bom, tá bom, tá bom.
Gen.G, they do manage to trade back, but any even trade is actually much better for T1 right now.
I mean, they block any
Tá bom.
rotation
Nossa,
down,
não
they're
sei como
gonna push this
matou,
further,
velho.
they're gonna grab a turret from
Beleza.
this.
Ué,
And,
nossa, não
I
parou o
mean,
recalque,
not even
né?
Gore Drinker Aatrox is still so difficult to kill.
That's the point, and Peanut can throw his ultimate there. I don't think Gen.G care at all. They're gonna get the soul coming up very soon. That's all they care about. And they now have
Tá
a
bom,
solid
mano, tá
advantage. Can
bom.
just park Dora
Tá
and
ruim,
Chovy
não.
in the side lane, apply pressure, and as long as they get this soul, you know, despite some people getting caught out twice in a row now, Doran had flash and stopwatch.
Ele não usou Black Shield. Nossa, ele não teve reação. Sem jungle. Nossa, ele não teve reação, velho. Caraca. Como não?
And Baron is up. T1 don't have the damage to start it. They don't have vision control. You can see they're kind of trying to posture
Nossa, mano, eu achava que ele ia ter
towards it,
reação pra isso.
but it's a pipe dream at this point. Lahenz is going to push this wave, even though he's a support. He's trying to come over here and look for any sort of control on Naguma as he can. Like, he's just like, oh yeah, come over here. We will engage on you. We have ult.
Well, Zeus does have a Yumi. Ruler is going to be able to dash his way out.
Oxe, ele dá dodge pra todo mundo? Não sabia dessa. Oxi.
Doran feeling pretty good. Doran possibly in trouble, and Gumayushi is going to take away his shellfish. Zeus is rotating up as well. Final chapter comes down.
Olha lá,
Doran
que chip
trying to
bom aí,
turn
ó.
it here.
Ó o chip bom aí, ó.
He gets exhausted though. There's the flash now. Great stopwatch there from Doran. Is it going to be enough to save him though? Is the question, and the answer is yes. Double dash does come through. Oh my God!
que
Faker just
merda.
explodes. Peanut
flash
misses
ainda.
the ultimate, but it may not matter at all. He flashes for the Winter's Wrath as Gumayushi's over the wall. Decent
Saiu
bumping is
vivo,
going
que
to be
chip
there, but
roubado,
the
mano.
Gnar is
Meu
also
Deus do céu.
dead, and now Genji are looking for a Baron.
Ruler wasn't even there!
Oh. Well, this is a really rough game here for T1, but Owner is still
Não
looking
pegou?
to try
Nossa
and challenge
senhora.
for this Baron. Lahenz is very, very low. Mega Adhesive does go down as Chovy's got
Nossa,
a flash.
ah, caralho, joga demais, mano. Nossa.
Zeri so extremely quickly, and it's another kill to go
Nossa
over
senhora.
to Ruler as well. Genji will take the
Rapaz
Baron
do
and
céu.
they're gonna
Bom.
now look to push in all these lanes and win this game.
I was going to
Calma.
earlier, but the
Nossa,
game seemed
mano.
so off the rails, it never seemed like it was going to be relevant, but also...
Isso aqui é 3 a 0.
Yeah,
Isso é
no, I
louco.
was thinking to mention it aside, like in 14 minutes or something.
It's just really, I mean, there's like so many issues here on so many levels, and Doran, because he has stopwatch here, is never in any
Nossa,
danger.
mano.
Rotation is quick.
Faz tempo que eu não vejo uns
Comes
tomp
over
desses,
for
velho.
Chovy, and you're trapped here as T1. You have to chase, you have to find something, but you don't have damage. You have no items, you have no control in this game.
And throughout all of this, again, they're down a member. They're down a member, but they have so much gold, it's basically still a fight with advantage for them. So, this play, you need to pull the trigger as Genji. You don't want to risk the steal coming through. And Chovy pulls the trigger. End of the game, I think, right there. Well, game ended a while ago, but this is truly the... I don't know how many nails go in a coffin, but like, they're really overdoing it here.
Yeah, this is basically a coffin made out of nails now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
At this point in time.
High-powered nail gun, firing him in.
No, I would 100% agree. Genji still need to cross the I's and dot the T's, as they say.
Nossa, olha o
Look
gold
at the
do Chovy.
damage
Meu Deus.
here.
Ah, não.
It
Gold
is
não, isso é dano.
insane for
Não
Chovy.
podia ser gold.
Ruler's
Muito
damage.
parecido.
Yeah, Ruler just, I mean, he managed to get that one kill there before, but he hasn't necessarily been the important point.
He pressed R, that's what this champ does.
1.7k!
He's outranged, okay?
He's just there as an R button.
Well,
Errou.
speaking of R buttons, Peanut's going to throw his into the nether. Gumayushi not going to get thrown back. Definitely important, but these
Nossa.
Nexus turrets are going down. Owner immediately diving forward. Soul Shackles at the ready, but it doesn't really do anything. Chovy throws out the chains, doesn't quite connect them as now
Acabou.
T1. I mean, it's got a naked Nexus. You got to go for something, but the wallets are so heavy here from Genji. The explosion of damage as
Cê é
well,
louco,
and there
velho.
is the Nexus going down
Meu Deus
for
do
the
céu.
second time, and Genji have
Tem nem
matched point
como...
in the
Nem clicar,
2022
cê é
summer finals.
louco.